Hello YouTube, it's Friday night. I had to kind of force myself to head out tonight. I just wasn't feeling very, I don't know, ooh, that guy's very hard to see. So there's a one. Regardless, very hard to see. Yeah, I kind of had to force myself to go out tonight. Just not really feeling it. It's Friday, January 2nd, 11:27 p.m. I'm not going to wander in. Part of me wants to go there, but it's, you know, I love the karaoke. If it wasn't for the fact that Priscilla is always there when there's karaoke, I would be there. I would go there. But yeah, after a stunt the other morning of just showing up and ringing my doorbell obsessively, waking me up. I mean, I guess it's a good thing. At least I didn't oversleep at work like I damn near did the following day. But still, yeah, that was not pleasant. And I haven't been really responding to her on Snapchat since. I mean, it's the same crap, you know. When am I going to see my babies? So she already knows what you know, what I'm in need of that I'm not getting, and you know, it's kind of, yeah. There's that. I got nothing more to say. That's okay. Anyway, I'm not even sure really where I'm going. I'm just going. Headed to the west side, and even though I have a lot of hang time between when bars close and when I have to go to work, you know, I wish I wish the show started at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. instead of 5 a.m. Like, it's just that dead time that after bar close, it kills me. I mean, it worked out to be a good thing this morning, last night, just because I drank a little bit more than I typically do, and, you know, it gave me time to completely sober up. Of course, that's also what resulted in me dozing off as well, so, I don't know. Yeah, I'm still really unhappy with I don't know. I mean, it's not an awful shift. I'm just not thrilled with it. Other than that, I loved the job. Had a really good meeting with my the department manager, and then I think like his number two. It's really hard to say like which of those two is higher up. I really don't understand the management structure there. It's confusing. Because there's basically two different logistics personnel companies, at least two that I know of. It almost seems like there might be a third. Presumably somebody is an employee oh, now I forget the name of the furniture company. I think it's Williams-Sonoma. Or maybe nobody works for Williams-Sonoma. I don't really know who works for who. Like, I know I work for K-Power. I got my first K-Power paycheck today. It was smaller than I was anticipating, which is a little frustrating. And it kind of has me worried that my overall paychecks, even though I think I'm making more money per hour, just due to the fact that it's shorter shifts, which is fine. Like, I mean, I don't know. Again, it's a mixed blessing. Like, I prefer the 10-hour shifts to the 8-hour shifts, but, and then of course those hours add up quicker. But on the other end of that, if like, because the shift is when I normally sleep, if I was drive home, I'm not used to driving in bright sunlight like that, so that kind of messes with me. And the traffic is not terrible, but it can be intermittently heavy. And I haven't really found a consistent good route, and I think it's just one of the situations where I'm going so far, I always need to watch the traffic. I will say, today it was a lot longer and more traffic-riddled drive home, and I'm sure part of that is just because it's Friday. Friday, afternoon, evening always has more traffic than other weekdays. But part of it is, like I said, I met with like the two top people in my department, and I don't really know that one is the other's boss. I think one is more in charge of forklift drivers, whereas the other is more in charge of shipping and receiving, and the people that are loading and unloading the trucks, which is done completely by hand. I mean, they don't refer to it as fluid load here, but I mean that's what it is. The guys that are unloading the trucks are using a combination of pallet jacks and just carrying things by hand. And then everything kind of gets received in a big area in front of the truck. Well, it's just a lot of open space in this warehouse compared to what I'm accustomed to. But yeah, they just kind of haphazardly balance everything onto these giant 8-foot pallets, wood pallets, and then they try to receive everything, and they've got purchase orders. And there's a couple gals that do that. Now another one of the managers, at least I think she's a manager of some kind, named Sylvia, and she's not the kind of person I would typically find attractive, but I'm finding her just, I don't know why, I'm just finding her really attractive, and I can't really wrap my head around it, but I'm not going to pursue that anyway. That's just it's just asking for a bad work situation. I definitely enjoy my interactions with her, for what that's worth. Anyway, and Adolfo, now he's the one who did the forklift certification for me. And kind of had like my last interview, so to speak. Like I had my phone interview and my first, like kind of long in-person interview with Raphael, who actually lives in Texas. He commutes here from Texas, so apparently he's like a regional person for K-Power. Now I don't think Raphael works, or I'm sorry, Adolfo, I don't think he works for K-Power. It's really confusing, like who works for who. And then there's another gal, and I think she's like local site HR, and I've mentioned her several times, Victoria, who is absolutely freaking adorable. Is a total sweetheart. It's so distracting every time she comes over to talk to me about something, because I just find myself wanting to just kind of just engage with her when I really have work to do. But yeah, like I think she's like on-site HR for K-Power. And keep in mind, there are way less K-Power forklift drivers than there are the other company. I don't even know the name of the other logistics company. It's a very odd arrangement, to put it mildly. Like the other guys have time clocks and badges, very similar to what I had at Amazon. Whereas I'm using like a handwritten paper time card that Victoria keeps track of and kind of busts out for me to fill out. Which there was an odd situation yesterday where one of the K-Power guys just left early, and I don't think he said he was leaving. I think he just got pissed off and left. So remains to be seen if he comes back. And the weird thing is, I think he's blaming me for him being upset and leaving. He's trying to say I hit him in the face with a box, with a dresser. Now I'm glad Adolfo saw it happen. But yeah, I had like 3 different people come up and talk to me about it. Adolfo talked to me about it actually at the end of this shift, and that's kind of what led to us having kind of an in-depth conversation, which was great, by the way. That was only a small part of it. To be fair, I did sort of drop a heavy box. I had a dresser in it, and dresser boxes are one of the heavier ones, and they've got a very unique sort of shape because they're we're not IKEA. Like we're fine furniture. Like most of our stuff is not delivered in kit form. So yeah, all the dressers fully assembled, fully solid dressers encased in special boxes. Most of them are actually attached with straps to their own custom sized cardboard pallets. This particular one wasn't. It was heavy, and I was doing something else a couple rows down, you know, a couple end caps down, and he asked if, and I forget the guy's name. I'm really bad with names. There's so many, you know, it's all new people because, you know, new warehouse. But anyway, he asked me to come help him. I'm like, okay. And he remembered my name, which makes me feel even worse. But anyway, about forgetting his name. But so I go over, and one thing that they do over there, which would be like a big time safety violation at Amazon. And at first I was looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And then I find myself, it's like, well, this is what everyone does here. And actually, yeah, this is helpful. Because, I mean, these are boxes, like some of these boxes are huge and somewhat heavy with furniture. And I don't always have somebody to get on the other end and carry them as a two-man person. So I end up just kind of sliding and rolling the boxes. So one thing that's being done pretty regular is, and keep in mind, we're working with a lot of 8-foot pallets. These pallets are huge. And they're coming off this other 8-foot pallets from inbound, where they're just, everything's kind of haphazardly piled on, which is unnerving. It's kind of unnerving moving those. Like, I do okay moving those, and I've seen other people dump them, and I haven't really dumped one yet. And I guess I've knocked a couple boxes off, and again, it's like really not, it's not like at Amazon where it's like, oh, we're gonna have a whole safety incident, investigated, full incident reports, and blah, 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 and you've lost your permissions. It's just viewed as something that happens there, you know, and just have me be a little slower and careful next time. So, I mean, I just realized that stuff is just it's not, you know, nothing secured in plastic. It's just kind of haphazardly piled on there. And yeah, I just accelerate very slowly, only go a quicker speed if I'm, you know, accelerate up to it quickly and I'm going in a long straight line. And anytime I'm making a turn, you know, I understand this centrifugal force is going to try to throw stuff off, so slow way down. And like I said, I think I maybe dropped 2 boxes total from these kind of giant pallets. Now we take it off those pallets and we put boxes on individual pallets. The only time we end up combining boxes if it's 2 things going to the same customers. Now we have 2 types of customers. We've got retail customers, which are actually people who have ordered furniture, presumably online, from Williams-Sonoma's website or from the Pottery Barn website. Or possibly went to a showroom and wanted something they saw in the showroom, but the stuff in the showroom is like a demonstration, you know, it's like display, so their stuff is actually, that they're ordering is new, so it's going to be shipped in boxes. I would imagine that's at play. I have no idea how the retail arm works. I really don't. But I do know that we also provide furniture stores that are not Williams-Sonoma stores, not Pottery Barn stores, that are, and they have different various names. And of course, I mean, you know, and I'm not going to say, I'm wanting to say Pruitt's just as an example, just because that's a furniture store near where I live. Does Pruitt's carry Williams-Sonoma furniture? I have no idea. I can't say I've ever seen Pruitt's listed on a label, but I'm seeing a bunch of like just independent furniture stores, what I assume are independent furniture stores, sometimes on labels, as opposed to like a person's customer name and a residential address. So we're handling both. Anyway, yeah, if there's 2 things going to the same destination, being an individual customer or a retail store, and that's the customer, that gets put together. Other than that, just 1 box per pallet for stowing, or what they call put away. Anyway, so yeah, sometimes boxes are super heavy and they're piled up kind of high on the pallets where they're all received and then moved over to the end caps prior to being put away. And what I noticed other people doing was taking and raising the pallet, using the forks of the forklift and raising the pallet to roughly the height of where that box is on the other pallet of the big, you know, pile. so you can just kind of slide it across onto the pallet. I don't know, at Amazon it's just strictly a rule of like you don't go anywhere near, you don't leave your forks up, period, full stop, ever, and get off the forklift unless something is seriously wrong. Like that's not part of operating procedure. I mean, I've certainly had moments where like I raised up a pallet and something, you know, a piece of the wood fell. It's like hanging by a nail, and yeah, you kind of got to get under it in that case just to rip that thing off, because it's going to be problematic when you try to stack it or whatever. But for the most part, yeah, that's just something that is not done at Amazon. So, but daily procedure where I'm at now. And anyway, so that's what this guy was doing. But he didn't tell me I hit him in the face with a box. He just yelled at me that I gotta tell him when I'm doing that. And the whole thing is what I did. Like it wasn't intentional. Like it just was. So the dresser was a little heavier than I anticipated, and so I'm trying to get a grip on it, but I'm kind of reaching across this pallet that he's got on his forks, and we're trying to take it, you know, and carry it across from, you know, just a few feet from the box it's sitting on the other pallet to the pallet he has on his forks. And so I move it over, and he I get it pretty much like to where my side is just barely over the other side of the pallet, and I'm trying to gently set it down, but it slips out of my hands. Now, it's not like it fell. It literally I went down maybe an inch-ish. Now, and then he yelled, and my concern was that might have caused him to pinch his fingers between the bottom of the dresser and the pallet. And then that's when I noticed he wasn't wearing any kind of work gloves, which, like, that's another thing. Like, there's no, you know, Amazon, that kind of shit. Like, the safety people will get on your ass if you're not wearing gloves. I mean, I do see people wearing gloves. I'm still using my gloves from Amazon. I got plenty of leftover gloves from Amazon. I'll keep using them. I don't know if they provide gloves or not. As long as my gloves from Amazon are holding up, I'll keep using them. They're good gloves. And I see some people that are using what I assume are their own gloves, because they're you know, nicer, fancier looking gloves. But yeah, this particular guy wasn't using any gloves at all. Not like I'm going to tell him, hey dude, you gotta have gloves on. You know, it's A, that's not my position to do, and B, I don't even know. You know, as much as I see people not doing it, I don't even know that that's policy here. You know, I don't know. It's 11:45. I didn't leave myself much karaoke time left. 2 hours at best. And I kind of want to go to 2 different bars. Obviously, I'm headed to Oz Bar. You know, the main reason I want to come by Oz Bar is I haven't come here when Dwayne is hosting in a long time. And Dwayne popped in and out a couple of times on Sunday afternoon. And I dig Dwayne. Dwayne is really cool, and it's good to see him. And he used to support my show down at Bullocks. In fact, I hadn't seen him in quite a while, and he came in and was like, hey, what happened to Bullocks? It's like, I totally went down there and I was hoping you would be there. You're gone. I'm like, oh yeah, I quit a while ago, and there's a new owner now. But anyway, and I'm hoping at some point to get down to voice in my head always says carousel. Fucking I don't know why I want to call it Carousel. The place down on 43rd and Bethany. So I can never remember the name to that. For some reason, my brain is labeled it Carousel. Skipper's Lounge. Anyway, anyway, yeah, so I kind of sat it down. I was concerned that might have caused him to without my keeping it up. Although, like I said, it only came down a couple inches. I was worried he might have smashed his fingers. And I was like, and he yells, you got to tell me, you got to communicate, let me know you're doing that. I'm just like, sorry, I hit the end of it, it slipped out of my hands. And he was like yelling at me, like all angry, like, and I'm like, are you okay? Did you smash your fingers? And I'm looking at his hands, and he's not doing anything that would indicate that he hurt his hands. He didn't mention anything about hitting his face. And then somebody else came up and asked if I got hit in the face. I'm like, no. I said, if I was hit in the face, I'd be kind of freaked out. I said, I'm fine. And it took me a while to realize what people were talking about. Somebody else is like, well, did you have an incident with blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, well, I don't think so. But what constitutes an incident? Anyway, it was good having to talk with Adolfo about it. But apparently he looked like super pissed off the rest of the shift. To be fair, he looked super pissed off most of the time anyway. But at some point, he just disappeared, and somebody was asking me about it. I'm like, I didn't even really notice. And to be honest, I don't pay as much attention to other people, other than when they're coming near me with a forklift, or I see pedestrians walking by, just, for safety's sake. But anyway, that was odd. But there were a couple of other things that happened, and as other things I've been mentioning, how I don't feel like there's any kind of standard for how we're supposed to maneuver around each other, and that makes me feel a little awkward, and I'm trying to just proceed with as much safety and based on what's procedure at Amazon. Obviously it's not as strict here, but I'm still trying to keep safety at utmost, so I'm not hurting anybody with a forklift, or whatever. But anyway, when I was talking to Adolfo about it, and I told him, it's like, hey, I'm just used to such a really rigid, strict environment where there's a whole lot of very specific written rules, and then guys rolling around with green vests just looking for somebody to break them. I said, that's kind of the environment I'm accustomed to. I said, I'm not like I'm advocating for that here, but it would kind of be nice if we had just some basics that were agreed upon. He's like, well, what do you think is not being done? And that's what I said, and I didn't throw everything out because that would just be too much. But the big one is the traveling with forks leading versus forks trailing. And I don't know how he hasn't noticed anybody doing that. He's like, oh, I hadn't seen that. I'm like, he's like, yeah, nobody should be doing that. And I'm like, well, I said, at this point, I see it so much, I just didn't think, I was just thinking that maybe it just wasn't a, policy here. I said, I'm always doing that just because I don't feel comfortable going with forks leading, where the mast or potentially a freight, cargo is partially obstructing my view. Anyway, there was another incident. I'm missing my karaoke show, so I'm going inside. But anyway, it was a good talk. It smells like weed out here. Nice. And I'm back. I didn't stay at Oz very long, and I wasn't really planning on staying at Oz very long, but sang 2 songs, had a beer, and right after I ordered my beer, and put my first song in, best friend messaged me to let me know he's headed over to Skipper's Lounge. I don't know why I can't remember the name of that damn place. 12:36 a.m. right now. I sang I was vlogging earlier this week, and I was talking about one of the reasons that I like going to gay bars for karaoke is because I can sing certain songs and get a good crowd response that then in other places just the song would be lost on the crowd. And wow, that's so dark. I put my fingers in front of the lens just to see if it was actually shooting video. Dang. Anyway, never mind my dingy car. And I had mentioned that one of those songs was Welcome to the Internet by Bo Burnham. I did try singing that one time at the Wander Inn, and it didn't get, I mean, it got an okay response just because I'm very well liked at the Wander Inn, but like it didn't get the kind of response that it gets here. So yeah, that was the first one I sang. I also sang it Thursday over at Newtown. I don't know if I mentioned that. First time I sang it there, and the crowd there, which I largely don't know, went pretty crazy on it. Was nice seeing Michael again. He was happy to see me, and as I mentioned, it seems like he's got some kind of connection above and beyond bar owner / bar owner and karaoke host with the karaoke host, which is fine. The karaoke host is a good time, and they seem to have eliminated most of their technical issues last week. But yeah, I sang Welcome to the Internet, and the crowd there just went nuts with it. Not much of a crowd tonight at Oz Bar, but the people over there really enjoyed Welcome to the Internet. And the funny thing is that Welcome to the Internet has got, if you've never heard the song, I'm trying to put a link in the description. It's from the special that Bo Burnham did during the pandemic called Inside. Part of me wants to say it's the best song from that special, but it's so subjective. There's so many good songs in that special. It was such a great, bizarre special. Netflix exclusive, if I remember right. Anyway, that particular song you can watch. Like to watch the whole special, you got to get on Netflix. But that particular song is on Bo Burnham's YouTube channel, I think. Anyway, made it barely. I don't like driving it through the tail end of lights like that. I had that one. And there's Bullocks. Hello, Bullocks. There seems to be a decent amount of people there. I miss going there, but I really don't feel like rolling solo. And that last time that I went where I met the new owners, it was not the sort of thing that made me want to go back. So, anyway, yeah, so the song Welcome to the Internet, it's got a couple of weird little breakdowns in it. And for those, please get out of my lane, thank you. Yeah, quit texting, girl. Looked over to the right, sure as shit, she's tapping on her phone as she's weaving into my lane in her giant SUV. Oh, nice. B-52s. Hopefully there's something to give me a content match that causes me to get blocked. Not a huge B-52s fan, but I like them, and some of their songs I really do love, and that's certainly one of them. That just takes me right back to 1989 when I was working at Y95, and God, those were good times. I think this is 35th Avenue. Yeah, this is 35th Avenue. I miss being able to read street signs at a distance. Used to be I could read these type of street signs from like a quarter mile away. Now, like, it's kind of a struggle to read it from here. I wonder what kind of car this is in front of me. It's a weird looking tail light. Anyway, for those who are unfamiliar with Bo Burnham's brand of music / comedy, he's a really unique stand-up comedian who sings and also, completely original songs, and also does stand-up comedy, but it's like very avant-garde kind of brand of stand-up comedy, and he'll interject little spoken word bits inside his songs, and the fun thing about that for me as a karaoke person, I don't have to say verbatim what Bo says in those spots. And Welcome to the Internet is one of those songs that lends itself to improvisation and working with the crowd on the spots where he speaks. And since the song is just about internet addiction and people being just so connected with everything, anything and everything all the time on the internet, it never fails. Like, when I'll be singing it, when I get to that part, there's usually 2 or 3 people that are just glued to their phones, scroll, tap, which, welcome to modern society. And I'm as guilty of that as anybody. I mean, in fact, I'm probably more guilty of that than most people, because more often than not, I'm sitting with 2 or more phones glued to my phones as I'm doing, multiple things online, ignoring the world around me. But, even without my phones, I'm kind of, whoa, there's a, wow, did y'all see that? The guy pushing like a stroller full of garbage across the street. At least do that in the parking lots, god damn. Or in the crosswalks, I mean. Anyway, so as per always, there several somebodies, like other phones. So I just kind of pointed them out and improvised on that. It was fun, and the people who were paying attention were you know, of course, laughing and getting, you know, thoroughly amused by that. As the people who I was making an example on were just oblivious to the fact that I was making an example of them. Ooh, goodness, this parking lot is empty. But there's my friend's Camaro, so yay, he's here. Anyway, going inside. Not expecting to get lucky tonight because I don't think there's anybody here, but hey, at least I can hang out with my best friend and sing some songs and grab myself another beer. Welcome back, YouTube. Pretty slow night at Skipper's tonight. And of course, I didn't get there till like 1:45, but I had a good time. Yeah, there was really only one woman in the entire bar that I found attractive. I don't know, there were a couple that were not awful, but yeah, I've seen attractive women at that bar on occasion. And there was one night this guy came in with like 2 extremely hot women that had to have been call girls. I mean, if they weren't, I'd be highly surprised. But anyway, not tonight. Pretty slow tonight. But which is the bright side of that is my friend and I got to sing a lot of songs. So, especially for getting there so late. And I didn't bring my flash drive today. Actually, no, I think I have my flash drive in my pocket. When I think of it. Ooh, we got some police activity on the right. That looks pretty sus. Yeah, you know, she'll let me sing off my flash drive, but for some reason, like, she doesn't seem to know how to import my files into whatever hosting software she's using. So she just plays it in Windows Media Player, and for some reason, like, the way her software is set up, that when she goes to work on her cue, like the singers that are singing after me, when she goes to work on her singer cue, and as my song is playing, it will put the display screen of that software in front of my lyrics. And I love Holly, the host, to death, but when she does it, she's so oblivious that she's doing it. And I've had more than a couple of times where I'm trying to sing a song from one of my own files, and my lyrics are gone, and I'm like, and I'll just comment like, yeah, I don't know all the words to this song, and it's just like she's just so busy on her screen searching for stuff, she's oblivious that she made my lyrics go away. So yeah, I don't think I'll be bringing my own stuff to sing there anymore, as much as I like doing that, unless I absolutely know the lyrics of the song. Yeah, the last song she did that to me, not tonight, but it was the last time I went there. I was trying to sing Opiate by, wow, that guy is like, so you are in the intersection and on the train tracks, dude. Did y'all see that? It's kind of dark. That guy stopped in the intersection on the train tracks. 2 places you should never stop in one location. Crazy. Oh wow, and that's where I'm supposed to turn right. Whoops. Wow, that looks like an old Denny's on the left there. Although I totally don't remember there being a Denny's at that location. Of course, this is not a site I routinely go to. Wow, my phone just went from 20% to 10% really fast. This battery is so on its last leg. I better put a cord in it. Where the hell am I? 44th Avenue at Highland. Oh no, that isn't where I needed to turn left. Blah. Okay, that was 43rd and Camelback. 43rd and Camelback. For some reason, that intersection totally looked like I know that was 43rd and Camelback. For some reason, my mind was thinking that it was 27th and Thomas. I guess just from the angle of the railroad tracks going through the intersection. Is that other intersection? 27th and Thomas is the same way, and I go through 27th and Thomas way more than I go through 43rd and Camelback. driving through random back roads in warehouse districts. Which begs the question, why am I not driving a forklift in a warehouse that is closer to home like this instead of the fuck across town? I don't know. I guess that's just me taking the first job that came along. Because, I mean, my inbox on ZipRecruiter has been just jam-packed. I don't even look at it at this point. It's just jam-packed with job offers, but I never know if they're real job offers or if it's just other recruiting websites trying to get me to sign up for it, because I've just had such bad luck with that shit wasting my time. And then other applications where they just, you know, I don't know, it just, I hate job hunting. I really, really hate job hunting. So at this point it's just like, well, I've got one. I don't like the commute, I don't like the hours, love the job. May as well stick with it for a while. And while I'm at it, try to figure out exactly what K-Power Logistics does, because obviously, like, they're a logistics company that does contract labor for different warehouses, and they're obviously bigger than just that warehouse in that furniture warehouse that I'm at. I mean, you know, the guy who interviewed me is commuting here back and forth from his main location, which is somewhere in Texas. I feel like he told me, but damned if I can remember where in Texas. Anyway, back to the karaoke. Yeah, I was trying to sing Opiate there the last time I went to Skippers, and yeah, I don't know the lyrics. There are some Tool songs I could probably sing without looking at the lyrics to them, but Opiate isn't one of them. And I think that's the first time I ever tried to sing Opiate too, so that was pretty disappointing. But yeah, and you know, it's not like I really need to bring, I mean, there have been songs I've asked for, and it's funny because some of the songs I've asked for are songs that most karaoke hosts have that she doesn't have. Like, I remember the first thing I ever asked to sing there was Rock and Roll Fantasy by Bad Company, which is one of those things that pretty much, I mean, I won't say every karaoke DJ has that, but that's one I can usually count on. Like, people even that have small karaoke libraries to have that. It's a pretty known classic rock song, one of Bad Company's bigger hits. But yeah, for whatever reason, she ain't got it. But yet she's got a lot of crazy deep tracks that like nobody else has. Anyway, at this point, I mean, they're on Songbook DB, so I can browse the catalog, you know, from where I'm sitting in the bar. So yeah, tonight what did I sing? Oh, by the way, I did sing a second song at Osbar. I didn't get around to mentioning. I sang "The Great Commandment" by Camouflage, which was kind of neat. It was sort of funny. Like, the guys that were around my age totally knew the song, and all the younger crowd was like, "Oh, that's a cool '80s song. Who is that?" Camouflage. Okay, who is that? But yeah, it went over pretty well. I guess, like I said, both bars pretty empty tonight. But yeah, first song I sang over at Skippers was, and she got me in really quick because there weren't very many people there. The first song I sang was "Down in It" by Nine Inch Nails, and she used the Gorgonzola karaoke version, which I think is the same one I use. I'm not really thrilled with that instrumental. It just, I don't know, as a Nine Inch Nails fan, it just sounds off to me. I mean, I'm still going to sing the song and get into it and do my best with it, and I'm sure nobody else even really noticed that the instrumental was kind of off. But yeah, I kind of stopped singing that one on my own song for that reason, and I don't think I ever did find a better version of it. And on that note, I'm pretty stoked that they got Gorgonzola karaoke into their collection, because that's, I don't know that I've ever seen that brand of karaoke used anywhere else ever, other than maybe Nick's. And I don't think he's playing it local. I think he's just streaming it off of YouTube. seemed to be a bit much for the crowd. I mean, obviously my friend and the Nine Inch Nails, but everybody else there seemed a little. I mean, I got okay applause after it, but people were kind of looking at me like, "What the fuck is that?" Nine Inch Nails, not as mainstream as it used to be. And to be fair, that's not exactly the mainstream Nine Inch Nails song. I would have probably got a much more positive response had I sang Closer. After that, somebody sang Runaround Sue by Dion. And I love that song. And the host disappeared, so I still had my microphone, so I just kind of sing along with the backing vocals on that, because that's fun. It's a fun song, and I know all the backing vocals to that. And after that, I was like, okay, oldies. Yeah, I should sing some oldies. And I did Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by the Platters, which that's one I've sang many times. Nailed it. Got a really good crowd response. Really, really good crowd response. Oh, this is where I need to turn. I forget what the last song was that I sang. I absolutely forget. Oh, Big 10-inch Record by Aerosmith, which Holly, the host, seemed to be enjoying a little more than she should have been. But anyway, I haven't sang that. That's one of those songs I used to sing a lot, man. I sang it in a long time. I think I need to bring that back into my regular repertoire. Anyway, I think the plan is just to hang out with a friend over at his place, which is over here on the west side, and which is cool. This puts me only about 30 minutes away from the furniture warehouse. Because, yeah, definitely working an overtime shift tonight. And this week oh, nice! I gotta be on KWSS. I don't know who else would play this song on the radio. Fuck, I love Soul Coughing. Change and it's on. Super Bon Bon, Super Bon Bon, Super Bon. I don't think I've heard this song on the radio since the 90s, like the mid-90s. I don't think I can leave my car with this song on. In fear, your chance will draw you in. In fear, you gotta take the elevator to the mezzanine. Change and it's on. Super Bon Bon. I was actually thinking about singing this tonight. Someone's cut the lane. You gotta take the elevator to the mezzanine. Jump, change, and it's on. Super Bon Bon, Super Bon Bon, Super Bon Bon. Kind of makes me wonder what Mike Doty's up to these days. I haven't heard any kind of music coming from him in years. His last album was several years ago. It was super weird, but I enjoyed the shit out of it. Let the man go. Move up. Let the man go. Let the man go. Move up. Let the man go. Let the man go. Move up. Let the man go. Let the man go through. Move up the side and let the man go through. Let the man go through. Move up the side and let the man go through. Let the man go through. Move up the side and let the man go through. Let the man go through. Move up the side and let the man go through. Let the man go through.
New music right now on the alternative KWSS 93.9 FM.
It had to be KWSS. There's no way 93.3 would play something that good. God, I'm so sad Soul Coughing didn't put out more music than they did, but from everything I've read, the rest of the band just couldn't hang with Mike Doty's heroin addiction. So, which from what I've heard, he's long since recovered from that. So, anyway, I'm out of here. I'll probably shoot another segment between here and the warehouse. So thanks for watching. Hey, what's happening? It's 4:28 a.m. Probably running a little bit. Oh yeah, I don't think I'm gonna jaywalk right now. Can I do this? No, I can't. Like, I think I could have done if it wasn't for that truck over there. But, I can't believe I'm having to use a gas button at this time of the morning. Okay, I got this. Oh, excuse me. So, yeah, I'm probably running a little bit late to work, but it seems to be a little bit more lax there on Saturday, and it seems like in the last couple of days, the warehouse has lost a few forklift drivers. So, not sure what all that's about, and I'm wondering if the guy who is claiming I made a box hit his face is going to come back. I don't expect to see him today. Last Saturday, which was my second day, which is the overtime day, it's like a voluntary day, there was very few people working, but it was really comfortable, and I'm really glad I got to have that as my second day, because I'm completely competent at this point, running stuff on the forklift up to the God, it's so unnerving how high that hood is compared to my, like, damn, the windshield stars higher than my eye level. I'm literally killing machine trucks. Yeah, so yeah, I parked clear the hell over here. My friend, apartment complex he lives in, there's just way more people living there these days than there is parking spots. There's so many people these days just need roommates to get by and be able to afford rent. It's kind of crappy where the economy is going. So many people. Unfortunately, I'm still doing a little bit better than that, so just count my blessings. Anyway, yeah, no, it's really good last Saturday because of course the car starts stinking. I really got to figure out how to disconnect that thing. That thing is so annoying. I'm trying to, as the battery tells me it's at 10%, I'm trying to get the power cable into the phone. I really should have plugged it in before I started the car. Okay, got it. That was awkward. Oh, excuse me. So, trying to decide what the best route is to get to the furniture warehouse from here. So yeah, last Saturday there was very few people working, which actually worked out really nice. I was able to have space and get a little more comfortable with operating the forklift and loading pallets up onto the high racks. Now I'm really confident with it. It's you know, I always wondered before when I would go into Costco and was contemplating applying to work as a forklift operator there, and then I would look at how high the racking was and wonder, like, you know, how unnerving it is trying to do that, since I never did that at Amazon. And yeah, sometimes it is a little on edge. Like, I do have those moments where I get a pallet up to the third level and I'm trying to pull out of it, and the angle of my forks is a little off, and I can't see it. I can't see what the angle is, and and I'm trying to, you know, I mean, I can kind of see how it's pulling out, but I've got to try to figure out how to adjust it from what little bit I can see as I'm pulling out. And obviously, I just can't pull out, or I'm going to send the pallet crashing down. But yeah, that was the awkward moment I mentioned. I had a few days ago with one operator where he came in next to me, and that's what I was struggling with. I was struggling with one on the 3rd level, trying to get it out, and then he came over with a reach truck and just went up to the 4th level, like right next to me, and it just, I'm just so used to the whole Amazon, you know, safety rules of I mean, I had one time where the safety person freaked out at me because I had moved my forklift just the tiniest bit in a work corral while they were all in the corral, and I was well over 8 feet away from them, which is supposed to be like the distance between by Amazon rules, the distance between pedestrian. But they're like, oh, I'm not in the same corral, which I think I was right on the 8-foot thing, and you know, will I ever get a chance to take that to a higher level and find out, hey, which is the correct answer? Probably not. I mean, I still don't know what the status is of employment in Amazon. Wow, my phone is crooked. I kind of want to leave my friend's place a little earlier than this, but he put on a movie, and it's killing me because I'm forgetting the name of it. I think it's Yesterday, but I'm not sure. And I've been hearing so much about this movie from different people. It came out a few years ago, where in the premise of it, and so many people have mentioned it to me and told me I needed to see it, and now it's bugging me because I'm trying to remember who the people were who told me I needed to see it. Hell, Priscilla was probably one of them. But anyway, where the premise of the movie is, there's this guy who's an unsuccessful musician, and then some sort of weird event happens, and he gets in an accident and somehow jumps into this other timeline, this other reality, in which all his friends and his social circle and everything's the same. However, the Beatles never existed. And other things also never existed. The weird twist at the ending is that Harry Potter never existed. Also, no Coca-Cola and no cigarettes. And, well, I would admittedly be a lot happier in a world without cigarettes. I don't know how I feel about a world in which Coca-Cola doesn't exist. That would be rough. Even though I drink way more Mountain Dew than I do Coca-Cola, that would suck. Anyway, the movie was really good. The music was really good, and the guy that got to play John Lennon, I'm not even sure who that was, but the casting on that, just like, it's I can imagine, like, if John Lennon would have lived to be an old man, that's what he would have looked like. It was pretty wild. Anyway, I'm thinking that's one. I haven't been buying much in the way of movies lately, but I think that's one I need to get on Blu-ray. Add that to the collection that I hardly ever find the time to watch anymore. Oh my goodness, I'm getting the hiccups again. Thanks. So, 4:37 right now. Yeah, I'll probably get to the warehouse on time. And since it's Saturday morning, there's notably less traffic. So thinking about that movie was pictured Ed Sheeran. I still really like Ed Sheeran, and I just thought his performance and everything in that movie was pretty cool. Especially love the scene where he's in the house with the main character's parents, and the guy's dad turns him and says, "Hey, you know, you look a lot like Ed Sheeran." that was pretty funny. So still messes me up going into work this time of day. I just feel. I mean, I don't feel as tired as I did this time yesterday, so there's that. But I just feel like I should be going to bed. The sun is coming up, and that's just been bedtime for me forever, feels like. I mean, as a karaoke DJ, as a cab driver, I mean, even going back to my radio days, like that was when I go to bed. Even if I have a night job or an afternoon job, like I usually stay up all night. The sun starts coming up, that's when it's time to go to bed. It tends to be the schedule I roll with when I want to play. I mean, that's pretty much how I existed, like during the whole pandemic when everything was shut down, and I was just kind of restless, wishing I could do something. And granted, I guess I could have got a quote-unquote essential job at that point in time. Looking back on how I lived through 2020 was just weird, but I think most everybody looks back on 2020 and was just like, God, that was the fucking weirdest year ever. With the exception of maybe 2001. Now 2001 feels like a distant memory. And while I have no direct connection to New York, even with me living as far away as I did in Tucson, Arizona, I lived in Tucson, Arizona when the Twin Tower attacks happened. That still affected me in a deeply personal way, and it's kind of weird how the way things changed on that date interconnected with the stuff I was going through personally in my life. I mean, that kind of intertwined right with me meeting my ex-wife, Daniela, and conceiving my oldest daughter, Allison, whom I have no idea where she is right now. I haven't heard from her in a couple of days. I need to worry less about her. I don't know, which I guess sounds like a bad thing to say as a father. Sometimes I think I worry about her so much to the detriment of myself, and to the point that I don't think it's really helpful just to worry with, just to worry for the sake of worrying. And I need to really get those replacement lens covers for my headlights. I'm like looking at the road ahead. My headlights are on, but it just isn't adding much light to the road. Hopefully the seller that I saved them on eBay still has them. And if not, I'm sure I can find somebody else that makes some comparable ones for a reasonable price. I think I got enough available credit on PayPal credit to get those. Try not to stress about it. Where am I at? Bullard Avenue. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to make it to work on time. Or close enough, it's not worth stressing about. Of course, I have the advantage in that building of being a K-Power employee who doesn't actually clock in on a clock. Oh, yeah, I started at 5. Sure I did. All right, 5 o'clock on the time clock. I mean, arguably today I worked a little bit later than 1:30. I I really lost track of time working. I was just kind of focused on stuff. And at one point I came out. Something I learned how to do at work yesterday was how to print replacement shipping labels. Because they have a barcode that I scan for the inventory tracking, which is called an LPN. I have no idea what the hell LPN stands for, but that's what it's called. Which is funny, our scanners actually say LPN when you move one, which is weird. I'm just used to the Zebra scanners that Amazon has, just going beep. And there was one scanner I always kind of tried to keep to myself that didn't beep. And it's funny because I every now and then I'd notice somebody else would have that and they'd be stressing out. Like, hey, what do I need to do? This thing isn't beeping. How do I get it to beep? And I remember the last time somebody had that, and they're like, oh yeah, you can't get it. Oh shit, I'm in the wrong lane. I'd be like, wow, I just became the guy that crossed over the gore area. How do you get that one to beep? I'm like, oh yeah, that one. You can't get that one to beep. I got a solution for you. What? Let me log out of this scanner. It beeps just fine. You can have it. I want that one. Which, of course, that scanner required that I pay more attention to the screen. But just one less annoying noise around me when I was working at Amazon with the scanner. Anyway, so the Zebra scanners that I'm using at the furniture warehouse, it beeps when I scan the first barcode, and then when I scan a location barcode, it says LPN. It's kind of creepy sounding, especially because you can hear everybody else's scanners saying the same thing from the other aisles. Speaking of those scanners, they're a different model than the ones that I was using at Amazon. They're notably bigger, and the beam can read a barcode at an obscene distance. Like, I want to say 30 feet away. I've probably scanned location barcodes from 30 feet away, which just seems crazy to me. And yesterday was the first day that I ever really kind of played with scanning barcodes from such a long distance away. I'm the kind of guy that's just usually right up on the barcode, and if there's adjacent barcodes, covering the other barcodes up with my hand, just because I remember having issues inadvertently scanning the wrong barcode at Amazon, and the software just running with it. Like scanning I'd have palletized totes, and I'd inadvertently scan the barcode for the tote as opposed to the barcode for the pallet. So I kind of got in the habit of putting my hand over the nearby barcode that I wasn't trying to scan. Anyway, with these, when I'm bringing the large loads over from inbound over to the end caps before putting the stuff away, I started just aiming and scanning the barcode of the end caps from wherever I happen to be scanning the boxes, as opposed to actually walking over near it and scanning them. And at first it was a little awkward, but then it got to the point where I just aim it and pull it. And the scanners are shaped like a gun, which is funny because I would call it a gun at Amazon, and certain people would really be triggered by the word gun. It's funny, that is a word that rattles people. But anyway, yeah, using the gun, and I'm totally using it